Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. When I was in college, I discovered I could participate in these research studies and make a few extra bucks. There are these psychology studies that would ask you to do this task and see how it would various situations would affect you. One of my favorite was an eye tracking test. They had you follow this thing on a screen, and they would measure your blood pressure or something to see how various situations affected your blood pressure. And I would scheme some of these studies and do them multiple times with different names and disguises. I had done that eye tracking blood pressure study 3 times using different names. And on the third time, my blood pressure was abnormally high because I was nervous about being caught. It was a graduate student who was helping out with that. And it was the same guy. I just had a disguise on. And I wore a funny pair of glasses, and I thought for sure he was going to catch me. The truth is, he probably didn't care. It probably kept him busy anyway. I mean, it's not his result at the end of the day, but I was overly concerned. And as a result, my blood pressure went crazy. And so not only did he have to pay me twice, but he got bad data out of it as well. And so we had come to spring break, and I kept going to the college campus to look at these things to do. And at the end of the week, I made like 70 or 80 bucks. It was not a whole lot of money. As a kid, it seemed like a lot, but it really wasn't a lot. I still do. I used to love searching rows of coins for rare coins, and having 70, 80 bucks gave me a lot more ammunition to go to the bank and get lots of coins at one time. Right? I would get some, turn them in, get some more, turn them in. But I often only had $20, $30 in my name, and so I could only get so many coins at a time. So that was nice. And at the end of that study period, I had a lot of, well, I had what I thought was a lot of money. And I remember thinking, this is cold, hard cash. And so one day while doing one of the studies, I was bored, and on a sheet of paper, I love acronyms for some reason. And I jotted down the acronym for cold, hard cash. It was C.H.C. And so I just thought that was so funny. Now, recently, I sometimes look for gig work, right? Especially tutoring. Now, a lot of times, some of the tutoring clients that I work with, especially Asian Americans, are just incredibly cheap. They don't want to pay. They want to go at all these angles that they could help me make connections so I could tutor more people. And I've learned the hard way to not work with people like that, because a lot of times those connections will not materialize, right? But I was when I was living in Seattle, I got taken advantage of a lot, right? I had one. Well, this was early on when I started tutoring. I had an Asian mother, and I was sitting in the library programming an AI for a computer game when she came up to me asking if I tutored computer science. So I was very lucky to get that, but I wasn't so lucky with negotiating the rate. I gave her son a good rate, thinking that I'd get my foot in the door. The truth is that I never really made all that many connections. She just expected the same rate. I ended up tutoring her son and then one of his brothers, and never really raised the rate. And so lately, I remind myself of to avoid negotiations where parents are promising all sorts of exposure, connections, or all sorts of other crap, and just focus on the cold hard cash. And one day I was getting ready to make one of these negotiations, and I closed my eyes and repeated cold hard cash, to not forget that. And I literally wrote CHC on a sheet of paper as I was interviewing the kid. He didn't know what it meant, but I kept writing CHC over and over and over and over again to remind myself. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.